myself in. Oh, bring back the days of reel-to-reel tape recorders. They're easy to run. Very sorry about that. Look, the weather is 29 degrees outside. I'll get your full weather report. Sorry that we couldn't bring that to you in a timely fashion. Now, yesterday at about this time, I spoke with the Small Business Minister in the federal government, Dr. Craig Emerson, who was trying to tell us that the industrial relations law changes that the government had put in place early this month would in fact create 5,000 jobs in small business. Now, I think that was in response to the position taken by the Retailers Association, Scott Driscoll, who said, no, these changes are going to make sure we'll lose 3,000 jobs. Here's a little of what Craig Emerson had to say. Dr. Craig Emerson is the Minister for Small Business in the federal government. Dr. Emerson, your 5,000 that you reckon will be created because we make these new industrial awards, where will they be?
It's a report that has been prepared by Access Economics.
For you, yeah?
Yeah, well, I guess...
what are the 5,000 jobs?
Of the overall impact of reducing compliance costs on all businesses, including small businesses.
Well, then why wouldn't small business just say, beauty, I've got less compliance costs, I'll have more profit? How do you know there'll be 5,000 new jobs? Well, he didn't. He couldn't tell me what they were. They're just some, I don't know, magical there'll be 5,000 new jobs because we've changed these awards. Now, I've received a number of notes from small business people who are very, very worried, including the poor lady who, Debbie, who we heard from earlier in the week. She's written to me today and said, I'm the small business owner who phoned you on Monday. I have a cafe. I employ 25 people. It's a very emotional issue for me. As these industrial relations changes are going to have a huge impact on my family and our lives. I just listened to Craig Emerson on your show. I'm completely disheartened by his comments. He claimed to have a lot of small business owners approaching him in his lecture telling him that the new federal award system is a welcome thing. That's rubbish, he says. I don't believe anything he says now. How can he be a small business minister? I'd welcome him to come to my business. I've emailed him. I'm yet to get a reply. And as Deb goes on to say, she says, I employ 90% university students. They can only work nights and weekends. Why should they be entitled to earn more than the hospitality employees who work during the week and who have chosen hospitality for their career? No member of my staff has ever complained about their wage. They've never approached a union to put through this new award system. The 5,000 increase in jobs is just nonsense. Now, we gave the Minister the opportunity to have a chat with you yesterday. His shadow number is Bruce Bilson, the Shadow Minister for Small Business Deregulation, Competition Policy and Stuff. And he's on the phone. Hello, Bruce.
G'day, Michael. How are you?
Not bad. I suppose you've heard the tape of that interview yesterday?
Oh, look, I just about choked on my spaghetti bolognese last night. It's Melbourne being an hour behind. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I mean, the first job, Michael, of the Small Business Ministers to be the #1 ticket holder of the Small Business Appreciation Society, not to give people like Debbie a hard time for presenting the cold, hard facts that these changes, this new workplace regime, is not great news for small business, as Craig Emerson keeps talking about. Small business after small business, representative organisation after representative organisation, they're all saying the same thing. It's going to cost more to employ people, and that will cost jobs, push up prices, and make services less available for customers.
I was surprised too. I thought he would take a more conciliatory line, but he didn't at all. He just, towed the Rudd government line and tried to tell us that black was white.
Yeah, and it was disappointing because he's supposed to be the Minister for Small Business, not just a pale and faint echo of Julia Gillard, who launched that report that he was relying upon at Linfox. There's a small business for you. At Linfox, a multinational transport organisation, heavily unionised. Now, this report actually is the findings from a survey of just 30 employers, 30 only, of whom 4 employ under 15, and the average number of employees of the respondents to this survey, employers provided by contacts from Minister Gillard's own department, the average number of employees they have is 923. Now, what la-la land is Craig Emerson in thinking that is representative of the experience of small businesses? Deb, your cafe owner, is right on the money, and I just wish the Minister would listen to her and others.
Nobody that I have spoken to, and I must say including Scott Driscoll, wants to score political points. You may, Bruce, you're a politician. I mean, good on you if you do. But the small business people I'm speaking with want changes that will make their businesses more easy to run and let them keep them open, and keep their people employed.
Look, and And the other thing too that you've touched on, Michael, is small businesses want their businesses to be successful.
Yeah.
They overwhelmingly want to do the right thing, but they take great pride and satisfaction in being able to employ others. That was the experience my wife and I had when we had our small business.
What did you do, Bruce?
Oh, we ran an art gallery in a fine Australian craft shop in Mornington in Victoria in a tourist precinct. But like many small businesses, you keep paying the $4,500 rent every month. You've got to sell a fair amount of work to cover that. And then when things get tight, what you do is you end up working more hours yourself and your staff get less hours, particularly on weekends. Now, Debbie's reflecting the fact that for many young people, after-hours work is attractive for them given their other interests, and in families where they're looking for a second income. These changes are significantly increasing those penalty rates, making it harder for people to employ, making it more expensive to employ people, and the net result that I'm hearing right around Australia is fewer people will be employed. Some will consider reducing their hours in after-hours trading, and for the mum and dad businesses, where's their family and work balance? I'm hearing all of them are facing more hours, longer weekends, longer hours just to keep their businesses afloat.
I don't want to make this just a moan sesh. We got at the tail end of this. We've got to talk about how we get this turned around. But here is another little snippet to add to the discussion. It's from a bloke called Troy. He says, Smithy, I've been a small business owner for 10 years now. I've had enough. This government, both federal and particular state, they've got the better of me. I just can't see the future anymore. I'm now preparing to begin retrenching people and winding up the business. In my industry, which is electrical contracting, the state government has decided to get hands-on with a raft of bureaucratic tripe. It's unworkable. It'll lead to our demise. And he goes on to talk about these new industrial changes federally and how much more expense that's going to add to his business. Oh, God help us. Bruce, so let's get positive, mate. Let's start talking about what can be done to undo these changes.
Well, the first thing we need to do is make sure the nation and the minister recognises small business as a key employer. 4 million Australians work in small businesses. That's a good start, Michael, to at least have that appreciation and that perspective, and then argue and fight for that small business community. Here, the lack of flexibility is what's causing such great harm and hardship to many small businesses. Not only are some of the flexibility options that were previously available gone, some of these so-called new awards actually remove flexibility even further. I mean, in retail, in places like New South Wales, for instance, if one of your staff worked on a Saturday, well, then they could have the Monday off, and as long as there were those 2 days, well, that was okay. That provided some flexibility. That's lost. In areas of horticulture, some of the hours of work which aren't conveniently suited to when you've got to pick your harvest are now causing problems for the horticultural industry.
Bruce, I get all that. I understand all that. But if I'm Debbie and I'm looking at down the barrel of having to pay extra money, what are the decisions open to me?
Well, the options that we're hearing as we travel around is people are restructuring their businesses, Michael, and that's a very difficult and a big call.
That means putting people off.
It can mean putting people off. They're looking at changing their rosters where they may have had 4 or 5 people attending tables and customers. In the case of a cafe, they might drop that down to 4. Everyone will be working off their feet, trying to make ends meet in the business and be able to continue to employ. Some of the other things that I'd encourage your small business owners and operators to do is to get involved with organisations like Scott's and make sure their voice is strong, because most small businesses, they're so focused on their business, they're so terribly time scarce that the energy and the opportunity to get involved in having their interests reflected in policy isn't something some take up. And we need to make sure that we have a government that's small business friendly, that sees it as where the jobs will come when the economic recovery starts, and that those voices are heard loud and clear.
Righto, Bruce. I'm going to have to call it quits there. Thanks for your time, mate.
Mate, good to talk to you, and thank you for your interest in small business. You can be part of that Small Business Appreciation Society.
Oh, we're going to keep. Don't worry about that.
Look, it's desperately needed. We should have a Small Business Appreciation Day where people can realise the sacrifice and the courage and the commitment small business operators take in every day.
Thanks a lot, Bruce.
Take care.
All the best. Terry Cooper, I know, runs a consultancy or a small business group here. We'll get her details up shortly and let you know how you can get in touch with her, or Scott Driscoll with the Retailers Association. It's through getting one voice and a consistent lobbying voice heard in Canberra that we may be able to get changes for you. 18 minutes past 5, 29 still outside. Lovely. By all accounts, outside, and 31 degrees tomorrow in Brisbane, mostly cloudy.
Greg.